Hi there, my name is Lydia Martinez. I am the founder and CEO of Elle Marketing and Events. And today I am here to talk to you about something I'm so personally passionate about, branding. What is a brand even? How do you define it? What is it? What elements come together to fit into your brand? How does it help you stand apart? And how to really develop and strengthen that brand over time. So, as we're talking about branding, what is it exactly? A lot of people will think a brand is just a logo, and it's not just a logo, it's so much more than that. A good brand is how you show up, it is the words, it is the colors, it's the images, it is the everything down to your font, the voice of your messaging, words that you use, words that you don't use. All of those things combine to become a brand and define who you are and what you do. A brand can be so recognizable that people know just by seeing a little tiny piece of it who you are. So, for example, if I were to show you a logo of an apple with a bite taken out of it, you would instantly know who that brand is. You would know that they stood for quality, simplicity, ease of use, beautiful design. And you know that automatically because that brand has been built over a really long time. It's easily identifiable just by the logo alone. And everything else about it, it's sleek, it feels fresh, it feels young, it feels trendy. The stores feel almost like going to a church, the way that they're lit up. And so think about that when you're thinking about brand and how you define brand. It's every single piece of who you are as a business coming together for a very cohesive, consistent look, feel, flavor, voice, tone. I want to go back to that word cohesive. There will be times when a brand will put something out that feels disjointed or it feels like it's not quite right. And so because of that, when it feels not quite right, there's this break in your brain where you don't understand it. It doesn't click instantly. And so one prime example of this is one of the big soda pop companies recently, in the past 2 or 3 years, they put out an ad where there were a bunch of protesters and there was a girl dressed up in protest gear walking through the street, and she handed a police officer a Coke. It was right during, or a soda, I can't remember if it was Coke or Pepsi. It was right during the Black Lives Matter protests. It was incredibly dissonant. It came across as really tone deaf. And for a brand that had been all about bringing people together, it actually showcased the dead opposite. That's not cohesive and not good branding. It doesn't stick, and it makes people, it's jarring in people's minds. It doesn't make people have a good reaction to your brand. Something else about a brand is it sets you apart and defines who you are. So if you look right up here in the top corner, you will see our logo at Elle Marketing and Events. It is a round icon. It's a typewriter, because we talk here about how every business has a story and we help tell yours. We're big on crafting stories, creating them. We love words. And so I thought, what better way to tell that story of old-fashioned craft storytelling with a typewriter? And so we picked that out. We picked it out carefully. Now, when you look at our brand, we've got the blue, we've got the orange, conveying solidarity, but our brand is also just a little bit playful, right? We like to have fun with it. And so that orange, that pop of color to me signified that level of like fun and playfulness as well. So you will notice today when I came prepared to talk about branding, I came dressed in my brand colors, the orange of the brand. You'll notice that a lot of our photography on our website, if it's a photo of our entire team, we're in blues and whites for the most part. They are on brand. They feel like who we are. Now, we don't have to be dressed in those exact blues and oranges, but we are dressed in those colors that signify or tie into our brand. You'll notice that a lot of our graphic design has those colors. The website, those colors are infused through the entire website, that level of playfulness. And so you can see that we are able to literally tell a story with our typewriter, with our colors. It showcases both creativity and like solidarity and strategy. And it was done very, very deliberately. We went through a ton of different versions of this logo to arrive at this one that we love. And we love the circle around it, that kind of signifying that this is complete and a total package. So when you are thinking about your brand, think about what it is that sets you apart and makes you unique. Think about the things that define you. And a lot of times when we're going through a branding workbook with a client, we start from a place of what do you want people to feel when they think of your brand? What do you want them to think of? What do you want them to associate with you? And then we look at what colors evoke that feeling. What are you trying to accomplish? And we put those all together. So think about the things that set you apart. The other thing about a brand that you have to keep in mind is a great brand does not come together overnight. It takes time. It takes time to develop and flesh out, and then it takes time for you to be super consistent with that brand. You have to be hyper consistent so that people know exactly who you are, what you do, how you do it. And that consistency has to live across everything. Your website, your social pages, your graphic design, your photography, your email marketing, the design for your e-blast. All those different things need to come together and happen on a very consistent basis for people to start being able to recognize your brand. One of the things that I always tell people to start with is start by slapping that logo everywhere that you possibly can. And not just your logo, but if you've got an icon like with us with the typewriter, you can use that in place of a full logo. Start having that stick in people's minds. Start having that live across the board. Start infusing your graphic designs with that logo or with that color palette. And it takes that consistency over time to really showcase who you are and what you do. One of our clients recently, her company is called The Robin's Nest. Was originally called The Robin's Nest Scrap. And it was a scrapbooking company. And they did a really amazing job on, selling all kinds of beautiful paper and things like that. But as scrapbooking became less popular, digital things started happening as far as digital photography storage. They decided to change the company and they started doing these beautiful dewdrop embellishments. And so as part of that, she wanted to rebrand because the name was confusing. It wasn't easily found. The spelling looked like the spelling didn't quite make sense. And so people couldn't find them easily. They were associating it with the old scrapbook company, this like 20-year company. but she needed to rebrand. And so we really worked on that rebrand with her. We worked on telling the story. Um, and we changed the name to the Robin's Nest Creative. And the Robin's Nest Creative, we redid the logo. Before, it was kind of a nest with some blue robin's eggs in it, but we redid the logo so that it showed up as this really, really beautiful robin that had a wing that looked like a dewdrop. And she wanted bright and colorful. So we actually did that logo in a full rainbow of colors, peaches and purples and aquas, because these dewdrops are meant as artistic embellishments and show up and showcase well. What we'll do is we'll post an example of the Robin's Nest logo, or the Robin's Nest Creative logo, in the comments later so that you can see that. But think about that when you're thinking about your branding or about a rebrand. How do you tell your story? How do you differentiate yourself? How do you showcase who you are and what it is that you do in a visual storytelling cohesive way? And so that's something that we're really, really proud of and really, really happy and delighted to be able to do. If you have any questions about branding, about logo design, about brand ideation before you've even started a business, reach out to us. We would love to help walk you through the process, for your online business, for a restaurant, all those different types of businesses. We've helped people with their branding and their logo, and it's something that we're always delighted to do. So please do, like I said, reach out if you have any questions, and we're happy to help you. Have a great day.